Oh shit, that's good. My cup is it's matching my vinyl community. I'm back to do a used vinyl finds video. Bought some collections and stuff online and stuff like that. So I want to show you that before I actually file them in the old shelves. This is going to be an old jazz video, and I have a shitload of stuff. So I think this is going to be a pretty great one, but maybe a little bit longer than usual. But as always, the intro. Here we go. You know the deal. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I mean, I won't be upset if you don't subscribe, but... And if you like this video, give this a thumbs up, because it's gonna go through the YouTube algorithm and stuff like that. So it's gonna spread to even more people, and more people needs jazz in their life. Especially on YouTube. So here we go. The first one I'm going to show you is actually a reissue. This is 1967, Cornbread with Lee Morgan. So you have Jack McLean, Hank Mobley, Herbie Hancock, Larry Ridley, and Billy Higgins on this session. And all of you is saying like, oh shit, he got the Tone Poet. No, I didn't. I have ordered the Tone Poet because I got it for a steal at a store that, yeah, but it's on back order. So when I saw this online, used, this is the 75th anniversary, came out 2016, I think. I actually grabbed it. It was like €10 or something like that, really cheap, and it sounds good. It's mastered by Bernie Grundman. It's not as good sounding as the recent reissues, but it's still a great sounding record. So until the Tone Poet, this is what I'm playing at home. And I mean, the music quality is just insane. This is Lee Morgan at his height, in my opinion. Okay, I'm gonna fly through some of these because I don't know how much of interest they are. This is 1956, Duke Ellington record. Original press on Columbia. Really great music, but it's not the sort of the jazz that I'm listening to right now. The music of Duke Ellington, it's a nice one, and the same goes with this, the Lionel Hampton Quintet. Also original press on Clef, really good. I got this in a huge collection that I bought, and it's great sort of music. And I actually I kept this first and foremost for the cover because I think it's a fantastic sort of photo. But the music is great also. So classic stuff. And the last one, and I'm gonna shoot through pretty fast. It's the Terry Gibbs. You have Terry Gibbs, Herman Wright, Terry Pollard, and Nils Bertil Delander on drums, which is a Swedish drummer. So that was kind of neat. And once again, great sort of classic jazz from back in the day. And I'm not a huge vibes sort of jazz aficionado, but this was good. He really has a great sort of his own voice on the sort of the vibes. So great addition to the collection. The next one is a little bit in the same vein, but I want to talk a little bit more about this one. This is the Soft Swing from 1959, the Stan Getz Quartet. And Stan Getz, if you know my channel, is, in my opinion, a little bit of a hit and miss. I know he's very popular, but I think that his tone on the saxophone is a little bit dull. But who am I to judge? This is a really good Stan Getz record, in my opinion. Totally worth going into the collection. And this has Mose Allison on it, and I think that this was the only date that those two recorded together. And Mose Allison's piano playing is really good, and it really complements the sort of the playing of Stan Getz great. You have also Jerry Siegel and Addison Farmer, but I'm not so familiar with those players. Highly recommended. 1959. You know, I've talked about Lars Gullin a great deal, and there was a series on Dragon that on the Swedish record label Dragon that I wanted to collect, and I got another one from that sort of series. You can find this really cheap, and this is the first one, volume 1 of Lars Gullin's, the great Lars Gullin. Recordings from 55 to 56, as you can see, and this is with Chet Baker, released by Dragon in 1982, and I think that there is 5 in this series. what I gathered, this is maybe the most popular of the ones in the series due to the Chet Baker sessions. But great one, and you can find this for like €10, €15 maybe. It's a compilation, but it sounds good for being a 55 recording. And if you're a Chet Baker fan, this is a must-have in my opinion. A really good year for Chet. Another 1959 recording is this one that I'm keeping in my collection, also from a collection I bought. Really Living with the J.J. Johnson Sextet. And the personnel here is there's great musicians: Nat Adderley, Bobby Jasper, Cedar Walton, James DeBrest, and Albert Heath. And even though I'm not a huge fan of J.J. Johnson's trombone, this is a great record. And it doesn't hurt that it's on the Columbia 6i, is it? In pretty good shape, actually. Nice shine to it. So, J.J. Johnson Sextet. Yeah, good one. Okay, the next one, 1965, is this one. And also from a collection. I had no expectations of this at all. I had no idea about Monty Alexander, so I didn't know how this was going to sound. The title of the album is Bunky. It's on Pacific Jazz, which is a great label that I don't have much with. But this was fantastic. When I dropped the needle and he started to play, I was like mind blown. He's a fantastic piano player, and he's the only one that I don't know the personnel. Paul Humphrey, Victor Gaskin, and Scott Turner plays guitar, but this is a really nice record. Highly recommended. Pacific Jazz, as I said. There's the label there. I don't think that this is you can get this for like maybe €20, something like that. And if you find it in nice condition, 1965 original press for like €20, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. Check it out. Okay, the next one. Now we get into the little more heavy hitters. This is a record that's been on my want list for so long, and it's finally in the collection. This is Cannonball Adderley Quintet in Chicago, featuring John Coltrane and Wendell Kelly. Stereo. This is a first Dutch press from 1959. And they actually kept, or they glued a review from back in the day here in English. The personnel here is Cannonball Adderley, John Coltrane, Wendell Kelly, Paul Chambers, and Jimmy Cobb. And 1959, with that lineup, the only one who's missing is Miles Davis, and you have the Kind of Blue. So this is like Kind of Blue without Miles Davis. It's a great date for both Cannonball Adderley and John Coltrane. They play their heart out, and you can really they stretch even further on this one than they do on Kind of Blue. This is definitely a more sort of saxophone record, if you get what I mean. On Mercury Records, one of those iconic records that is finally in my collection. And if you don't know this, obviously check it out. Okay, so some of you may be a little bit bored with me talking about Lars Gullin all the time, but in one of these sort of collections that I got was actually a US press of a Lars Gullin record, which is to me so damn cool that this was in the collection. And because I don't see Lars Gullin, US Lars Gullin records, I don't see Lars Gullin records at all here, but a US press even less. It doesn't say when it's pressed, but it's recordings from 53 and 55, so I guess maybe 55, 56, somewhere along that line. And it's a great session. And the best thing about this is, if you look at the median on Discogs, this is a €10 record. You get a 50s press, or beginning of 60s, I don't know, for €10. The best Swedish jazz musician that ever lived, for €10 in original press. That's insane. Like, highly recommended. So recommended it's not even funny. Okay, so I'm slowly building my Cannonball Adderley sort of collection. This was also in one of those collections that I bought. 1965. This is Cannonball Adderley Domination. And what this is a sort of a big band bop record, and the orchestra is arranged and conducted by Oliver Nelson. And it's great. I mean, I'm not a huge big band or sort of orchestral fan. I like where the smaller the group is, the better, in my opinion. But this is really, really good. So it's nice to have this and add this to the collection, because it stands out a little bit in the shelf. And they do great tracks here, like by Julian Adderley, Nat Adderley, Ray Bryant, J.D. Johnson, Joe Savignol, Cole Porter, and it's produced by David Axelrod. So not a newbie on the production there. Capitol Records, 1965, original US press. Great. Now we get into the sort of the classic sort of turf here. This is Gary Mulligan meets Ben Webster. Okay, so now we get into the basics, like the real classics. This was in one of the collections, and I'm so glad that I finally have it in my collection. Gary Mulligan meets Ben Webster. Fantastic. 1960, and I think that this is the first US press, because this is on Verve Records, and it's on the trumpet label. They had the sort of the Verve Cross. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a deep groove trumpet. Both Gary Mulligan and Ben Webster's tone and sound from the saxophone is iconic. One of the best sort of tones in the business, and on this one you get both. I know I sound like a broken record. Is that the term? But 1965, again, this is a Japanese press from 1973 of this iconic record that I actually found online. I had a dreadful jasmine press of this in a plain sleeve. I don't know if you know, but the Jasmine label, they had the sort of the rights to reissue some of the Impulse records back in the day, and that has to be the sort of the lowest point in this sort of company's career, because they look insanely bad and they sound even worse. I haven't heard a single Jasmine press that sounds even remotely close to anything that you get out of a fucking car speaker. Yeah, so that's my rant. Sonny Rollins on Impulse, the first one of 3 records that he recorded or he released. I don't think that, maybe they did some sessions, but released by Sonny Rollins on Impulse. So at one point we had the 2 greatest tenor saxophonists on Impulse at the same time. 1965, Sonny Rollins and John Coltrane. He released 3, but he only recorded during 1 year with Impulse. So that's a little bit sad that they couldn't like keep him on the label. This is one of the best Sonny Rollins records I've ever heard. I think that, and this is a controversial sort of statement, I think that Sonny Rollins is a little bit overrated. Especially the later sort of stuff with Sonny Rollins. The saxophonist Colossus is maybe my favorite. It's a cliche, I know, but it's my favorite. And then this one is maybe a close second. Okay, so who's on here? Walter Brooker, Mickey Rooker, and Ray Bryant. And engineered by Rudy Van Gelder, as always. Japanese press sounds great. I don't know if all Japanese pressings are great sounding through the history of sort of pressing records, but most of the time people are talking about Japanese pressings as if they are good. Please comment if you have any sort of opinions on Japanese records. I don't have enough to really like do a comparison video, but it would be fun to, if someone did a sort of if someone analyzed sort of the Japanese against sort of the US or something like that. Moving on. So I had a Japanese press of this that I'm going to sell. I've had this for ages and ages. I found it at a thrift store for like 50 cents or something like that. Way many moons ago. I think it's a Japanese. No, it's a German press. Excuse me. So when this ended up in my possession from one of the collections that I bought. I got a new one in my collection. This is actually a promotional copy, not for sale. So a promo copy of Blue Bash by Kenny Burrell and Will Smith on Verve. And it doesn't say on the label that it's a promo copy, only on the cover. And this is a fantastic sort of Sunday morning sort of record, in my opinion. You just put it on, like a weekend sort of enjoyable jazz record. But you can also like just sit down and really absorb and listen to the music. Kenny Burrell, fantastic guitar player. It's hard not to like his the sound he gets out of the guitar. And when you hear it, you know that it's Kenny Burrell. Jimmy Smith, he has done 1 million recordings. Like, I think I'm not exaggerating when I say 1 million recordings. Okay, a little bit, but he if anyone could record, it was Jimmy Smith. Again, it's not too long ago that I got this in a collection that I bought. This is Bumping with Wes Montgomery. Maybe Wes Montgomery's best record, maybe, of the one that I've heard on Verve. So this went into the collection, all good. But when I bought this other collection, I got it again. And way back, like maybe 12 years ago, something like that, I found this for maybe €5, something like that, in a sort of a antiques store or that had records also. Got it home, saw that it was generating a little bit of money. I loved it, but I sold it to buy more records. And in this in this collection that I bought, the exact same version that I had once and sold appeared. This is the original master recording version of Wes Montgomery's Bumpin'. And the sound quality of this, I mean, it's easy to say that due to original master recording, this bar up here, everything sounds fantastic. I know that there is probably records out there with this that doesn't sound that good, but I kid you not, this is maybe the best sounding record in my collection. Maybe. It sounds so damn good, it's insane. Highly recommended. This was issued in 1982 in the US, obviously, and it's worth more today than when I sold it 12 years ago, because everything has gone up, especially records and gas. I mean, there's like analog productions, reissues of jazz records that goes for $150, $300 that people are paying. You can get this for maybe 50, 80 dollars, somewhere along that line. And I don't say that it's worth it, because I didn't buy it for that. But if you're after a really nice sounding jazz record, especially on the sort of the guitar side, that's a better investment in my opinion than any of the analog productions and stuff like that. But we're comparing oranges and pears, or apples and pears, or whatever you want to call it. I'm really happy that I found that one and I can add it to the collection. And once again, I'm selling this one to get some of the money back that I had invested in the collections. So when it was announced that this was in the sort of the classics series that Blue Note is putting out, I was a little bit on the fence of it. It's not my favorite Jimmy Smith record, but it's still a great one. But I thought maybe I can pick it up later on. I don't know. There's so much that you want to get. So move forward a little bit. Maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I went on to one of the stores that I look at once in a while as a routine here in Sweden, like used record stores and stuff like that online. And I found this for €15, and it just said that it was in good condition. And I looked at the pictures and I decided to buy. I bought it right away. So this is actually an original first US press on Blue Note of the incredible Jimmy Smith back in the Chicken Shack. So you can, I mean, €15. It's not in the absolute best shape. The record is in great shape. But yeah, €15. It's a no-brainer. Original Blue Note, Stanley Turretain, Kenny Burrell, and Donald Bailey. And this has the New York, USA label. Stereo. Yeah, I was super happy with that. And I know that it's not the most sort of sought after or most rare Blue Note record, original press of a Blue Note record that is out there. Jimmy Smith sold a lot of records, but it's a great one, and I'm so glad to. It's not every day you find a original Blue Note, US Blue Note record here in Sweden, especially for €15. The next one is a record that I had no idea existed really, and this is a little bit before my sort of to go to jazz really. I'm getting there, like I'm going backwards in the sort of the jazz history catalog, and I'm into a little bit into Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker right now, and listening a little bit to that sort of the bebop guys. But in this collection that I bought was this one. I had no idea about it, so I put it on, played it. The recording quality is so, but the music quality is fantastic. This is Lester Young with his orchestra, record called Press. It was released in 1956, and it has John Lewis, Buddy Rich, Ray Brown, and Gene Rami on it. When I looked this up, because I play it, I clean it, I play it, and then I log it on Discogs, the median of this is $100, and it has sold for over 300 euro. Yeah, euro, bucks, whatever. It's on Norgran Records with the trumpeter there. I don't know if that was a sort of a affiliate to Verve. I don't know. Maybe. But it turns out to be a little bit rare and expensive to buy. And due to the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of this sort of era of I mean, Lester Young has a fantastic sound. Great musician. But this recording quality of those records back in the day, and this is also the same goes with Duke Ellington and Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, all those kind of guys in this time period, 1955, 55. It doesn't sound as good as I want my music to be. Do you get it? Like I can though with those kind of recordings, I can stream my music if I just want to listen to the music. That I'm that sort of a collector. We are all different. So I'm going to sell this down the line. But nice one. I wanted to show it to you because it's a pretty rare record, even if I don't think that it's the best sort of record of the bunch that I'm showing you today. And last one I'm going to show you today, and this is also 1959. It's like 65 or 59 today, isn't it? But this is one of the best records that came out of that sort of collection that I bought, and I was so glad. It was actually when I saw this in one of the crates that I when I bought the collection, I knew that it was going to be a great one. This is the Blowing the Blues Away with the Horace Silver Quintet and Trio. So you have Blue Mitchell, Junior Cook, Horace Silver, Eugene Taylor, and Louis Haynes on drums. Yeah, iconic Blue Note record, and this is the first deep groove mono US press of this one. It has the ear, the P on both sides of the dead wax end, and the address 47 West and 63rd NYC. So yeah, I'm so happy that I got this, because I never see these kind of records, and when I see them in stores, because it's in record stores that these end up, they are expensive. They cost what they cost. I mean, it's the demand of Blue Note records, isn't it? So when finding this in a huge collection that I bought for next to nothing compared to what I got, it's just like, there are still ways of doing great deals on records these days, but I think that in my case, in my town, of the stuff that I'm collecting, buying collections is the way to really find those sort of great deals today. I think so, at least. So yeah, that's it. Hope you liked the records that I showed. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.